Section 2.3, change sentences to inequalities and vice versa. In our previous section, we were learning to use is less than and is greater than. In the section where we're going to further that thought. So the inequality symbols that we have, and here they are, and right next to it is the words. So the less than symbol means less than, greater than, less than or equal to. This has two symbols in one. Greater than or equal to, and not equal. When we're graphing, so this part right here is called the graphing part. When we're graphing and using this, we have to use specific symbols to represent when it has less than or greater than. We're going to be using parentheses or an open dot. So some books like to use open dots all the time. Some books like to use parentheses all the time. And some books use a combination of each, so you have to be aware of what that means. The symbols less than or equal to are represented by square brackets. So here we have the square brackets or a closed dot. Like I mentioned a second ago, books like to use different things, so you have to be aware. Let's go ahead and look at an example. It says, write the phrase x is a real number greater than 3 as an inequality. So our focus in this section is to write these phrases out. So I have a phrase here. We're going to be writing out as a numerical statement. So right here you have it in words, and we're going to take care of it in numbers. Then graph the number line. So we're going to take the x, right? It's telling us to use x, and then we take a look just exactly at this real number greater than. So we look for a symbol. X is greater than. Remember, I had given you the example with the alligator or crocodile. The mouth is open towards the greater part. In this case, it's saying that x is the greater number, and then the number goes on the other side. So we have x is greater than 3. This is how we write it. And you have it there. You have it in this little part here. And let's go ahead and graph it. So on a number line, I like to start with 0. I know these things are labeled for you, but I'm going to show you my thinking process. And then I go to the negative side, and I usually will label 1 or 2 numbers, and then I go towards the positive side. And what you want to show is enough numbers to make the reader aware of which direction your line is going. Go into 3, and we're going to be alternating between parentheses and dots. So in this case, you have an open dot. Why is it open? Because it doesn't have an equal sign, right? It's this one here, not this one. And then we're going to go towards the numbers, okay? So not only do you have to start on the numbers, such as 3, now you have to show me which direction I can pick from. Because x is greater than 3 represents an abundance of numbers, not just one number. So I'm going to physically think of a number that is greater than 3. So what number is greater than 3? 4, 5, 6. So I start seeing on my number line 4, 5, 6, 7. So my line has to come this way. I know you see this on your number line, so let me erase that here. Let me just emphasize this open circle. Another way you can do this is parentheses. So we would have parentheses and line. So you see it looks exactly the same, except this time I'm using a parentheses instead of an open circle. Example 1. It says, write the phrase, x is a real number less than 5 as an inequality, then graph on the number line. So I have the value x, it's a real number, and here comes my inequality, less than 5. So it's less than, crocodile mouth opens to the other side, it's less than, and then we put the number 5. So my inequality is done, x is less than 5. Then we're going to come in here and graph. I like to start at 0, and I'm going to just kind of start 0 in the middle, and I know my positives come this way, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, 2, 3, So I'm ready to mark my 5, and I'm marking 5 because the 5 is here, so I have to mark it here. So let's mark it. How do I mark? We're going to either do an open circle or a parentheses. Okay, I'm not going to show you the parentheses yet. I'm going to tell you why in a second. So 5, so I now need to think of what numbers are less than 5. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. My line has to come this way. So my answers for x is less than 5 are any of these values, not including 5 or anything bigger. Now let me go ahead and do the parentheses. The parentheses I need to do in the direction that it is going towards. So if I had kind of started here and I didn't know which way it was going, like what if I put this and then that's kind of weird, right? So we have to make sure our parentheses are in the direction we're going. So sometimes what I do when I'm starting with parentheses, you're thinking, well, how would I know what direction they're going? What I do is I just kind of mark my 5 and then I decide which way I'm going. And I come back in and really emphasize my parentheses. I believe that you can try number 2. Focus on it's greater than or equal to. So what do you have to do? Your symbol will be different. Look at your symbol. And your symbol on your number line will be different here. Okay, so both symbols you have to pay special attention to. Try that. Number 3. Write the phrase x is a real number not equal to 1.6. So I am being asked to use x, and then my key phrase here is not equal to. So what is not equal to? I have an equal sign and I cross it out. Let's go ahead and graph that. So for my number line, I start by labeling, and I always like to start with 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative. Right, so I'm going to come in and mark 1.6. 1.6 will be kind of a little bit to the right of the middle, right? I'm doing it real gently because I have to make some decisions. It says it's not equal. So I cannot have a closed dot because a closed dot means it is included. And in this case, we don't want to include 1.6. We would have an open dot on 1.6. And then what values can x take on? So x can take on anything except 1.6. So we're going to go, can it take on 2? Yeah. Can it be 3? Yes. 4? Yes. How about 1? Yeah. 0? Yes. Why am I saying yes? Because 0 is not 1.6, because 1 is not 1.6. My number line will be shaded each way except 1.6. So all of those values can be my answer except for 1.6.